Last week, I was kind of middling about the photo that I featured on Weekly 50. It wasn't great. It was just like, it was fine. This is the other end of that spectrum. This photo is great. Like I sound almost narcissistic. Like I don't want to sit and say, oh, this is the best photo ever, but I really like this. I just do. And I'm so glad that I can share it here on Weekly 50 and talk a little bit about it. This is our campsite at a lake where we went to with some friends. And it's not something we do very often. We've been trying to wait for the right time, like the school schedules, work schedules, the weather, and everything worked out for us to go to the lake and camp overnight with some friends. This is our tent and our friend's tent at the lakeside. And obviously this is after we went to bed, but there was a kind of a fun serendipity element to all this, where before we went to bed, I was looking around for a good place to take a Star Trails picture. And I initially placed my GoPro, which, by the way, this is shot on a GoPro, nothing special here, just literally a GoPro in Star Trails mode. That's it. I initially placed my camera on a rock just past the tents. So it was at the edge of the lake, and you could see the lake and the horizon and the stars. Or at least that was what I'd lined up. When I set it up, it was still daylight, but I set it up so that when it took the photo, you would see that. And then I got to thinking as the kids were playing and as the night went on, I thought, I bet I can do something more here and provide a sense of context, which is one of my favorite things to talk about here on Weekly 50. The other version of this photo, which was just the stars and the lake, would have been fine. And it might have even been more than fine because you probably could have seen more of the stars. But it would have been missing that context to connect the viewer to something in the image. So at some point during the evening, I don't remember when, I think it was actually as people were going to bed, there was this dock that extended out into the lake. And by the way, no one's around here. We hardly saw anyone else at this campsite the whole time we were there. So I didn't worry about anyone coming over and stealing the camera. But I thought, what if I put my GoPro and I have this little clamp mount? What if I mounted it to the side of that dock and took a picture where you could see more than just a lake and some stars? What if you could see the campsite and you would know that this is a picture of some people are here, and it would give a sense of scale and presence and help tell a story. It's not one tent, but two tents. All of these things just by putting the camera in a slightly different position. And it totally worked. I'm so happy because you never know how these Star Trails are going to turn out. You never know if you've got the position quite right. You never know if the stars are how you wanted them to be. You never know if the lighting is going to cooperate, if clouds are going to come by. It's all kinds of things that can get in the way of a good Star Trails photo. And one element of this that also really worked out was the moon. What you see in the distance is not the moon. It's the light of a city like miles and miles away. But over a 3-hour exposure, that light tends to be visible. But the moon was in almost the full position or full stage. And so as it was passing overhead and behind me, or where this camera's placed, it lit the tents. And so initially I was kind of bummed that we would have a bright moonlight while we were camping. I was really hoping to camp in a new moon where it's very dark. But I thought, that moon is going to illuminate the tents and let you see what's going on here. And it totally worked. I'm so happy with this. Even the weather cooperated. The clouds are almost non-existent. And the weather was so calm that the lake just turned to glass. Like this was such a fun photo to take. I often tell people that doing astrophotography on a GoPro is like using a cheat code on a video game. And this is another example of that. You don't even need a current one. This is my GoPro Hero 12, which you could probably pick up used for like $300, and you can do this on older models too. It's so cool to do this kind of stuff on such a small little camera. Strongly recommended if anyone has a GoPro out there and you're like, what do I do with this thing if I'm not doing extreme sports? Well, one thing you can do is take really cool pictures of the sky.